Easy now, folks. As you can see, I've bought myself a wee present. I bought myself a new air pump from All Solutions. It's the APS 12 kit, they call it, which I bought for $24.99 off of Amazon, which means it's the 4 outlet pump because it's going in the set of tanks that is in the dining room here. It's going to replace the Hailea that is, well, I think it's going to replace the Hailea that is in position just now. There's nothing wrong with the old pump. It's working fine. It's been working fine for a number of years now. I just had a few quid, so I wanted to get a treat, and I'm hoping this is going to be an upgrade. So let's have a wee look. So right away, a nice wee touch is you get the accessories with it, and I know that some people did complain in the reviews about the air tubes. You get 4 air tubes being silicone, so they can maybe kink a little bit easier. To me, that's a small complaint. If you keep an eye on them, if you get them in the right position and there's air getting from one end to the other, they're free. Do you know? What more do you want? You also get 4 non-return valves and 4 air stones with this kit. That all comes to a good few quid on its own, so that's a really nice touch that you get all that stuff. So calling that pretty good. And your air stones, look, 2-inch air stones. That's a bit bigger than the regular ones that you pick up in the stores ordinarily. So well done, All Solutions. I think it's a nice touch getting all that. So next we can pull out the pump itself. And I've got to say, I do like the design of this thing. It's really nice. Kind of looks like a high-end games console, doesn't it? I don't think you'd mind that being visible around your tank or even under your TV next to your DVD player. Okay, so we've got the pins at the back. We've got rubber feet underneath just to make sure it reduces any vibrations that it might make. If there are any, we'll see. And then you've got the dial at the front, which I think is a pretty good design actually. It means you can run your air tubes out of the back of the machine and adjust it from the front. That's pretty cool. That's going to keep things nice and tidy. And then if we measure it out, it looks about right. 173 by 160 by 70 millimeters. It was advertised, and yeah, that looks about right. That's quite a nice size, in fact, when you consider you're getting 4 times 2.8 litres per minute. I thought it might be a bit bigger than that. I'm happier that it's a wee bit smaller. So we're going to pull out the Hailea. There we go. I've used the air stones that came with it just to keep the air tubes in the right order. I like to know which one goes to which tank, so we'll keep that neat. The other ends are mainly attached to box filters, but I will be using a couple of these air stones in the fish tanks once we've done here, and then we'll give it a test run. Okay, so we've had a bit of a tidy up. We'll put it in position and see what we think. This is a bit concerning. This is a volume level that I'm used to getting out of the Hailea, and there's not very much air coming through at all. So the APS is 10 watt and the Hailea's, sorry, APS is 8, the Hailea's 10. The APS is meant to kick out 11.2 litres per minute in total, and the Hailea was 10. Alright, so it is a more powerful unit. However, to get the air that I'm used to for these tanks, well, I don't need it anywhere near full capacity, but to get what I'm used to, it's much louder than the Hailea. So, yeah, a bit bothered about that. But I'm going to try something different, right? I've got another idea. The instructions do mention that you're supposed to put the unit above the water level to prevent water flowing backwards. Now, they provide us with non-return valves, so I'm not sure why that would have to be the case, but maybe it means the air pump won't have to work quite as hard and won't be as noisy, so we'll give that a try. I've got 4 equal pieces of air lining length, stuck the air stones on the bottom suspended a piece of wood across one of the tanks, and we'll stick the air stones in and see if that makes any difference to how loud the unit is. So this is it on kind of low. I mean the air tube's only short, but if we turn it up a wee bit, I don't know what the sound's coming like on the camera here, but I think it's too loud. And at full belt it will certainly be too loud. For a house anyway. If this were in a hut or a fish room, for the amount of power that's coming out of it, the amount of tanks you can run off that air, I think it would be brilliant. Just stuck a bit of sponge under there just to make sure it's not any vibration. It's not, it's the unit itself making the noise. I just don't think I can use this in the house. Gutted. Like I say, the design is brilliant. The power that's coming out of it is brilliant. I love the way it looks. I love the way it's set up. It's just too loud. It does say on the box, low noise with little vibration. And I wanted it to be true. I really wanted it to be true, but for me, only 50% of that's right. Well, in a house anyway, like I say, for a fish room or a hut, maybe that would be okay. So I'm going to compare it to the Hailea now, which I never intended to do, but I think I've got to. I intended it to replace the Hailea, however, I just don't think it can. So that's way more air than I normally run it at, and it's much quieter than the APS. Okay, and I've got a long way to go on that as well, look. Right, I want to be fair to the Allpon Solutions and point out this is only the bigger unit, the 4-pin one that I'm comparing here. The 2-pin one, it might be a completely different story. And until I test that, I won't know. I'll turn that back down to where I'm used to using it, and all I can say is what I can see. Based on this 4-pin APS against the 4-pin Hailea that I had, one is much quieter than the other. Much. I do prefer the design of the Allpon Solution, but that is purely personal. And remember, the Hailea is much older, and you're not going to see it. Well, mine is covered up behind these boards on the bottom of the aquarium, so I'm not really sure that matters too much. I do like the sleek black and white look of the Allpon Solutions though, compared to the silver grey. Allpon Solutions is a bit squarer as well, whereas the Hailea is a bit more rounded. But size wise, they're not too far off. It's about 10mm longer, 15mm less across the front, and 10mm taller. Doesn't matter a huge amount, it just means they're going to use about the same kind of space in your storage area. Whether that be the cupboard under the tank or above the tank, whatever, there's not too much difference between them. I'll just measure that, in fact, just to make sure that comes out about right, and that's 185mm. That looks 140. It's advertised 145. It looks about 140 to me, and then it should be 90 off the ground, which is about right. Perfect. They both run on 220 to 240 volts. The APS is 8 watt and the Hailea is 10. So in the same ballpark, and you can also pick up the Hailea for $24.99 on Amazon, which is the price I paid to get the APS as well. So where does that leave us then? Not really a lot between them. The only difference is the Allpon Solution does seem to be a lot louder. Certainly louder than I'll be comfortable with to use in the house. Definitely at night time anyway. I think that's what it's going to come down to. For a fish room, I think I'd be sticking with the Allpon Solutions. However, for the house, on the 4-pin models, I think the Allpon Solutions is going back in the box. It hurts me to say it. I really wanted this to be a great pump, and I think it is a great pump, just not for the purpose that I wanted this one. So, hope that was interesting. Hope it was useful for anybody looking into either one of these pumps. I like them both. I really do. It just appears each has an advantage over the other, depending what environment you're going to use them in. Right, I'm out. Later.